I'm sure you guys are surprised to see me here, but thank God it's Friday. Welcome to the show. I am Veronica Danik Boy. With me, as usual, are my co-hosts. Ladies, good to be with you again.
Another surprise here.
Another surprise, Mary.
I'll be speaking with an accent with us on your view. She be, you know. It's Vero. Don't forget.
You do Veronica.
She forgot so
Veronica.
fast. Very alpha.
Good morning, Nimo.
Oreo. She knows that.
Man, who saw the traffic today?
Yeah.
It was crazy. I'll start with you, Marian. How was it for you?
For me, it was until I got on CMD. So I was in that traffic for something that should take a minute drive. You will be in traffic for 20 minutes. And I mean, that's why one of us is not here. Obiachili is meant to be here, but she's still in traffic as of right now. You know,
one can
it's
imagine.
really bad.
The cause of the traffic, I don't know. Perhaps someone knows.
Someone said, one of our producers came in and said a tanker, one of these big trucks fell. So that could be an added, already I think there's traffic because of the rains and everything. But also I think something happened today.
The traffic started before 5 because I actually left the house before 5 o'clock. So it had already started building up. But Nima, your end, I'm not sure you should have
like that anyway.
You not have to leave much earlier. So to get out of it. But I was lucky this morning. Even though I left much earlier, it wasn't that bad. The tankers were just parking. So I was able to just, I hope those who leave at 7 or my kids who leave for school at 7 will not have to suffer it. But they were just queuing up on the road. But then it was like my spirit didn't want to come to work yesterday and today because I don't like forgetting something.
Okay.
I left my phone yesterday. Today I forgot my shawl. So this outfit is supposed to be Pakistani, has a sari on it. And my kids were crying. The little one wanted to sleep. He didn't want to have a bath. I just forgot it. I feel incomplete.
But it looks nice.
No,
if not that you said it, no one would have thought.
On it would have made
for us, we did not know what it looked like before. This looks really nice.
Mary?
Well, I didn't experience much traffic this morning coming, perhaps because of the access we took. Most times when the drivers are coming, they tend to take the Ojota access. So before the traffic started building, we were here in time, at least. Fair enough.
Oh, enough of traffic talks now. Thank God it's Friday.
Yes. Okay, so I'm supposed to be teaching at my son's school today.
Me too.
You too.
Me too.
Are you worried? Are you scared?
Me too. I can't because of work, and she's really upset at me right now.
I had to
really
make time. I have to be there because my son has never asked me to do anything for him in school. So I know that this must mean something for him.
Of course it
does.
does.
I have to be there. And so I was
hoping the traffic would have cleared by the time.
Yeah, I hope so. That's true. So I was just practicing with him yesterday, like, okay, this is how I address the students. So like, the girls might like it, but the boys, you have to come and say, I got your back, you got my back. I said, are you serious? He said, that's what the boys would like. I said, okay, I'll come and say that.
What are your plans for the weekend?
This weekend, fortunately, I've cancelled all of my events, and I'm hoping to sleep. Please don't visit me. I just want to rest.
What's an announcement?
I need to prepare for my debates, and I really need sleep. I need to catch up on sleep.
All right.
Don't visit me, I won't open the door.
I have a busy weekend ahead, a birthday, and all of it. But then, let's dig into the papers now. All right, we begin with the Punch. Nigeria's fresh appeal won't stop asset seizure, PNID. Nigeria must pay $200 million security deposit, 250,000 pounds cost, says firm. All right, we also have another story. Senate raises 2020 budget to 10.7 trillion naira. Buhari presents estimates Tuesday, and positioning oneself for 2023 is playing God, Oshomali. And Assembly accuses Amoso of tampering with local government funds. Government kidnaps 6 pupils, 2 teachers in Kaduna. Cow's death on the monarch headsmen sign peace deal.
So on the Punch newspaper, I have that story, the one on the Senate, the 2020 budget presentation.
Yes.
As it is, it's of course earlier than usual. The president of the Senate stated this at plenary actually yesterday. And so the budget has been increased by about 0.7 trillion to make room for more expenditure and of course putting in consideration the oil wealth, so to speak. At least there's a mark higher when it comes to oil. So basically it's two things to mark: the fact that more money is coming in via the budget, and two, the fact that it's coming in earlier than usual. When we talk about the budget, we usually talk about it at the start of the year. So this is actually very
because
impressive.
they want to return to the January-December cycle.
Yes.
So that is why it's moving fast. So on
Yes.
Tuesday, the president is supposed to present it before the Senate.
So I want to take the major headlines since P&ID is only in the Punch. P&ID reacting to the Nigerians' request. That's our Minister for Information was saying that we were going to appeal the security costs that the court awarded, which is $200 million. So they were reacting that this was not going to stall their going after assets abroad, except Nigeria pays the amount of money. The appeal wasn't going to stall it, and that they were sure that, you know, if we fail to do that, that the court will not even grant us that appeal. So that was the P&ID's reaction from one of their companies, In-House Communications, which is a public relations company, responding to Nigeria.
All right. Marianne, do you have a story there?
No.
No. All right. We'll move on to the Nigerian Tribune now. Minimum wage. Federal government says labor's demand will lead to retrenchment. 580 billion naira required to meet demand annually. Buhari ready for dishonest, transparent negotiation. Oshibaju. Be tolerant of competition, Buhari tells South Africa. Attacks on Nigerians regrettable. Ramaphosa, South Africa, Nigeria signed 30 trade deals. Gunmen abduct 6 female students, 2 teachers in Kaduna private school. And then still on the budget here, we have Senate Reps Jacob budget estimate to 10.729 trillion naira. Who has the story?
Okay. I have both. So I have the major headline. That's the federal government is sort of, okay, it's saying that the Minister for Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, is saying that it would cost us about 580 billion to meet the consequential wage increase. Yes. And the country would not be able to afford that right now. So it looks like Labour may still have to go on the 16th October industrial strike that they are talking about. The Vice President has sort of waded in. And
they're also saying that they should get ready, that to also meet up with that, they might have to face retrenchment. They might have to reduce the workforce. So
yeah,
because a lot of people have been calling for a reduction of the civil service because of course, we know some jobs are just unnecessarily multiplied. So reduce them as much as possible. Let them face the duties that they have to face.
Yeah, there's one more story, very sad story in Kaduna State.
Yes,
so 6 students were abducted from a school in Kaduna State. 2 of their teachers who live on the premises were also kidnapped as well. And they said that this gunman came in sometime yesterday through a fence that's quite porous, and they took these girls. And one of the parents said he was able to talk to his daughter. The kidnappers put her on the phone, and he could not tell what they were asking for exactly because he didn't understand the language. The governor has gone to the school community, is going to the school community to commensurate with them, and they're advising schools to, especially private school, because this is a private school, to beef up security on their premises. But now I think we'll have to look for where these girls are and these teachers are. It's sad that it's happening again.
There were some issues here, actually. We'll move on now to this day newspapers, and the major headline here says businesses upbeat as Nigeria, South Africa mend relations, sign 32 deals. Open your economy for Nigerians, Buhari tell Ramaphosa. There we have a picture representation of that meeting. FIRS report states revenue collection jumps to 1.6 trillion naira from 800 billion naira. Gunmen abduct 6 schoolgirls, 2 teachers from Kaduna School. President Buhari's meeting in South Africa with Cyril Ramaphosa, the president, still on the xenophobic attacks. And about 32 deals, as it is stated here, was signed. But then, more importantly, on the issues of the xenophobic attacks, there were agreements. But then what is worrying for some persons is how will this be enforced beyond these statements? How will this enforcement, even though the community, the Nigerian community in South Africa are confident, but then again, putting words to paper, action, again, is what Nigerians are looking forward to.
Yeah.
All right, let's move forward. Or does any other person have
No, I actually had that story.
Just, yeah, I also checked out the
Yes,
Xenophobic
and
attack story.
the president of South Africa said, we have expressed our deep regret at the events of the past few weeks and manifested through the attack. So I'm happy that like a proper apology has been given to Nigerians, and it also said something about that those who were caught up in the attacks, those may be compensated. And just as you said, we hope this is not just some agreement signed on paper and then we forget all about it.
Yes, because another aspect has been justice for those who have. So let's see how it goes on. On the front page of the Vanguard, customs on offensive sales of car marts nationwide. Customs on offensive sales of car marts nationwide. 110 car marts shut down in the north. Customs men raid Abuja CBD. Car sellers will allege customs out to ruin their businesses. Pay duty, retrieve impounded cars. Customs. And don't tax the poor, Ndume tells the federal government. Minimum wage, Oshubaju, Ngige, TUC meeting, Ase Rock. The EFCC to me now provide details of how you spent 17 billion naira pension funds. Wow. All right, we also have another story there. Reduced number of senators, reps, Okorocha advises. Interesting advice. Then gunmen raid Kaduna school, kidnap 6 girls, 2 teachers.
So, second day of Mena's arrest, Mena is still being interrogated at the EFCC headquarters, and they're asking him to, to give more information. They're trying to extract as much information as they can as regards, when he was the head of the Presidential Pension Reforms Tax Team, and the amount of money that, he spent about 17 billion naira of the 24 billion naira given to him by the government was, of course, diverted. And then, when he, according to the allegations, he also diverted 5.7 billion over a purported contract that he awarded. He diverted about 4.1 billion payment for states pensions board and a further 1.3 billion under the guise of paying allowances to government officials for biometric verification across the country. So Mena has a lot to answer for. Please, he should start talking. So, hopefully.
And to compound issues, his son was arrested.
Yes, I was going to find out if that came up in the news.
That didn't come up, but this is update on what they're asking.
So according to for the son's arrest, according to reports, the son was arrested with a gun. He was trying to attack security agents, and so that was actually part of what led them to arrest his son. So he has to also answer a case, especially if they now find out that that gun wasn't even licensed to him.
So perhaps it's been treated separately.
Yes, I believe so. That's actually why his son was arrested.
That's an action for the DSS and the police, but financial crimes for which his father was allegedly arrested is separate for the EFCC.
All right, to the Guardian now. Confusion over customs clampdown on auto dealers. $8 billion market threatened. Anxiety over prices of vehicles. Senate raises 2020 budget from 9.12 trillion naira to 10.79 trillion naira. That's on the Guardian. And to the Daily Trust now, how gunmen kidnapped Kaduna schoolgirls, teachers, parents evacuate children from school. Victim called grandmother from bush. Buhari to South Africa, there should be no xenophobia again. State's revenue collection rises by 46% in 3 years, while Saraki's chalet was revoked. Kwara Assembly. Someone has the story. Yeah?
Yes, the only story. So a chalet had been given to the former leader of the 8th Assembly? Yes, Saraki. And it's been taken back. So people are saying that he's been witch hunted. The government is saying, the Kwara State government is saying that actually that property that was given to him was meant for the state government. It was not meant to be given to him. Yes, some are alleging that he had made transfer of money, like maybe he bought it off government, but there's no record of any transfer of monies for that property. And so that's why the government had to take back his property. So it's not a witch hunt. It was just not the right thing that they did in the first place.
All right, that's the much we can take from the papers this morning. Next, we have a foreign correspondent as our guest to talk about women in journalism. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
All right, thank you for staying with us. Obiajuli finally made it to the studio. Welcome.
That'll be easy.
Yeah, I know. We can imagine the stress of coming to the studio this morning.
I had to take a bike
to
get here.
Finally, you made it anyway. And also joining us on the show is a foreign correspondent, Anna Cunningham. Thank you for joining us. Good morning. Wow, Anna, you have been at the front lines. You've covered conflicts around the world. You covered Boko Haram stories, and you have also worked in Afghanistan under dangerous conditions. And you're here for the Women in Journalism Conference. The theme this year is focusing on women on the front lines. Dr. Hotz, how has it been?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a journalist for 20 years now. I know it makes me sound really old, but we'll ignore that. And I have worked in lots of different areas around the world where I have experienced conflict, and it has been dangerous at times. And this conference that's happening tomorrow in Lagos, Women in Journalism Conference, is, as you said, focusing on women on the front line. But I think what's interesting is that in so many areas of the world now, when you talk about front line, I mean, go back 10, 20 years, and you could define what a front line was. You know, it was the front line of a specific war zone. Whereas now, it can be a small conflict, you know, or a riot somewhere. As well as, you know, the attacks that have been going on in the northeast of Nigeria. I was based in Nigeria for 6 years, so I covered a lot about Boko Haram. I went up to the northeast, I reported from there, and I think there's various things. There needs to be more opportunities for women who, like myself, want to focus on reporting conflict. But there also needs to be a lot more support and a lot more training, because we do enter these difficult areas. It is difficult for women. And let's be honest, I mean, it's great to be sat at a table with women here, but journalism, news, the media is still a male-dominated industry, and that needs to change. There needs to be some more parity, you know, across the table, whether it's editors or producers or reporters.
So you've gotten to an area that interests me. Yes, it has to change that, you know, we have to find a way to balance this male dominance in journalism, but are women ready for this balance? Are women out there ready to take the job? Or, you know, will women continue to say, you know, because I'm a woman, I expect certain... Yeah.
Are they ready to even be at the front lines?
You see, it's really interesting, this, because I have asked myself that a couple of times. When I was pregnant with my eldest daughter, I was working in India, and I was invited to go and cover the Commonwealth Games in Delhi, and there was a lot of concern about safety and security. And at the time, I was on a contract with the BBC, who I used to work for full time. And I had a phone call from London from one of the sports editors. And she said, I just had a chat with one of the male editors, and he's really concerned that you're pregnant and that you can't do this. And, you know, and I said, look, I'm not sick. I'm pregnant. And eventually they agreed, and it was all fine. I went to the northeast of Nigeria to report on Boko Haram, post the Chibok schoolgirls, and I was pregnant then. I was nearly 6 months pregnant. But interestingly, I had a very different reaction from my editors in Toronto for the CBC News. I had a phone conference with them, and they basically said, look, Anna, if you're okay with it, then we're okay with it, as long as you have the good security in place. And the security guy that I worked with, and I think that's another crucial thing, to have training and make sure you have a good security team or one person working directly with you. I mean, his mission was, look, Anna, if something happens, an attack or something, I can be there, I can help you, but don't go into labour, because I can't deal with that. You know?
I want to ask, how has the support been for you? Because I see a lot of women journalists who want to do what you have been doing, who want to be on the front lines, but then there is no support from either the company they are working for or the government, so to speak. So you're more like left on your own,
when you go that deep into war or conflict. So how do you think we can improve the support we give to people who dare to come out?
I think when I look at my career, I spent 10 years at the BBC as staff and 10 years freelance. And it's very different when you're with a big broadcaster or a paper or whatever media house. And they can give you that support, but there needs to be this training. Nobody, certainly within the foreign media that I have worked with, would send you into a conflict zone unless you had done the proper training. And this is all about doing what we call a hostile environment course.
Absolutely.
And you get trained of how to deal with, recognize when a situation is not safe. What do you do about kidnappings? What do you do if you find yourself in an attack situation? And they just, for insurance purposes, will not allow you into that area unless you've done that course, and you repeat that course every 3 years. So I think that is a support that needs to be there for journalists who want to enter into this kind of field. But also, I think mentoring is really important as well. Talk to people who have been doing it for some time, get advice from them and support. So really, the training, the mentoring, and then when it actually comes to doing the job, it is about planning. But of course, not everything always goes to plan.
Yeah. So I have
the events coming up can address some of these issues that you mentioned, the mentoring and everything.
Yeah,
we
I
address
think
at the Women in Journalism conference.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. So,
So I have a question, which is you're talking about going, to the front lines even while pregnant. So it makes me think, do you think that there's a way women tell stories, female journalists tell stories differently, and is it important?
Yeah. And do you know, there was one incident quite early on in my career. In 2002, I went to Afghanistan to make a documentary for the BBC. And I'd only been on the ground about an hour, and there was a huge bomb attack in Kabul. And it was, it was sort of right into the thick of things. And then I after that had been reported, it was a year after September the 11th, I got back to making the documentary, and something really interesting happened. We were traveling outside of Kabul, and we were going across a dry riverbed in this Jeep, and there were 2 or 3 women in the car and a couple of men. And then suddenly, somebody opened the gates to the dam, and this wall of water came down this dry riverbed. Fortunately, our driver managed to get us out of there. And all the men got out the car and went to look at all the water and how they were going to get across this riverbed. And this one woman turned to me, and she lifted her veil, and she said, "I have to tell you my story." And out came this just incredible story about what she had been through, how she had, survived attacks under the Taliban and all of that. And she would only tell that to another woman. And it was at that point that I thought there really is a need. And I've reported on similar stories up in the northeast of Nigeria as well. Women will prefer to talk to women.
Great. All right, Anna Cunningham, obviously this conversation is very important, and that's why you're here for the Women in Journalism conference. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
All right, next we discuss our topics for today. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. We'll like our viewers to call in and tell us their experiences this morning with the traffic. Obiajulu is itching. I know she's itching to talk about her experience. And we also have to talk about her experience also. Actor Ufuoma Mcdermott.
Yes,
Did I get
I did. I really don't know what's happening, but the traffic started very early from Agege. Before I got to, from Abulegba, the road was blocked. And the roads are terrible. Now they come back, fix these roads, and after a few months, the roads are bad again. So they are likely not using good quality materials to handle.
No,
I want to be polite.
No, polite.
I should not be polite.
It's a statement of fact.
experience you went through today was a polite.
No, you can say it.
Tearing yourself up. Let me quickly tell our audience the number to call. Can I talk?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Now join the conversation on 070-8066-8014. Tweet to us at TVC Connect with the hashtag YourViewTVC. Go ahead.
From Abulegba, the road was blocked. The 2 lanes were blocked, seriously blocked. And then we struggled and got to Ogba. I was thinking when I get to Ogba, at least I will have a free flow. It was still blocked. We found our way to I've never seen Alausa this blocked since I've been passing that place for 2 years now. It was really blocked. Then entering just before this Otedola bridge here, the place was, that was when I gave up. I had to get a bike. I kept looking and the bikes were refusing to come to this direction. I don't know, but there was no truck that, there was no truck that broke down on the road. You still pass that place and there's nothing stopping. So I'm wondering what is causing the traffic this early. Is it that we have so many cars on the road?
It actually started before 5 a.m. because I left my house that early this morning. And the driver that picked me said that he had to follow one way to be able to get to me that early. Else I would have missed the show early this morning. So one wonders what really the issue is. Your experience?
I came in from, the island, and just as I approached Oworonshoki, go down Oworonshoki, it's moving, but as you come towards Ogudu,
everywhere,
you just wind down.
And be finding yourself.
When it's bad, those
just wind down. Look for corn, bully. So that way no loss. It was terrible. I know, right?
When I was leaving my office and I know that I might get into traffic, I just called. There's a bully stand, Madam 500.
How many?
And then I put a bottle of water. And I'm in traffic and I'm just okay till I get home.
Let's take our time. But I didn't think I was going to be in traffic because normally I'm supposed to be against traffic.
Yeah.
So I was surprised, that there was traffic. So I thought it was okay, just maybe a little bit, but no. It continued up until I got here.
The Ojota, let me just try and explain Ojota axis. The Ojota axis traffic for those coming from Ikorodu, turning from from K2 Bridge into the Ikorodu Road will have a problem because of that pothole. That same pothole, that service lane, all the way to after Oregon, the Skudrat Abiola way is bad. And we've been talking about it on the show. Tokpe emphasizes it on the show. And the purpose of this kind of, large viewership is so that government hears and do something, at least ameliorate the situation. But no. So that traffic kept building. I passed it, and I thought it was fine. And then every other person couldn't get past it. And that's what caused
At the end of the day, everything is, interconnected.
So even as we're getting here at this time, the road is still blocked.
I pray we can get home today. Whoa. Honestly, it's really blocked.
By the way, I hear there is prayer. What?
That's too early for that.
It's too early.
Well, now I hear people just take the day off because you want to get to camp on time, get good space, good sitting, or maybe start your prayers on time. I don't know, but
looking over the bridge, I saw the traffic heading towards Bega.
Absolutely. So that might be another reason.
All right, we have a caller on the line willing to share his experience. Joel, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Tell us your experience. Go ahead, talk to us.
Yeah, the point I want to make is that all of you must know that for quite some time, Lagos State remain what it is in terms of hold up. And I did not know, and I think one of the contributors to those of roadblocks and all this kind of traffic, these transport drivers and all that, they make mess of the road. They park anywhere and pick passengers. And this can also hinder the flow of traffic. And apart from that, bad roads are everywhere, all the parts of the state. And this is supposed to have been corrected by the state government. Little ones, I think local government got to do something to support the state government. And so that if there is a flow, because if you have an appointment, you cannot get to the place for almost 4 or 5 hours. I mean, it doesn't make sense at all. So I think they have to do something, the traffic orders, and the last man and all that, they have a lot to do, especially controlling those transport drivers and all other people, so that they will have a traffic flow everywhere. So that whenever you have an appointment with somebody, within a few hours, you need to get to the appointment and get what you want to do. That's just my question.
Thank you, Joe.
So earlier, when Obiadulu mentioned that they talked about the material used for the road, and I said she could go ahead and say they were low quality, I said it with all sense of responsibility because it seems like bitumen no longer works for our roads. It's a statement of fact. So the Lagos-Badagry Expressway is under construction, and the sites that have been constructed, most of the times, the service lane, they are presently in terrible bad situation. They even had to buy granite to ameliorate the situation before they completely reconstructed the under Alakija Bridge, where I have to pass every morning. But you see the roads that were just about 3 years old, breaking every time. Once it rains and it's flooded, because, you know, number one, we have to deal with drainages.
Yes.
Flooded, once the water goes down, it washes a part of the bitumen away, and the roads keep going. So the contractors doing constructing our roads, or the engineers behind this, already should be considering maybe the topography of Lagos. Bitumen doesn't work for it. They should be looking for alternatives, because we don't know how road they last 30 years abroad, but we know they last like that for years. We should be checking it
before now.
Yeah, but these ones are new.
The newer roads
being constructed.
No, but let's tell ourselves the truth. I think we're expecting too much of the road. If a road is constructed and only 2 cars are passing, you can understand that it will last the 30 years. But the number of cars in Lagos... Trucks. Do you understand? Then there's trucks. I think what we should be talking about is maintenance. I honestly don't think... So, yeah, maybe I've seen a lot of people change from bitumen to interlocking paves, you know, for highways and all. But the truth is, I think at the end of the day, you know, TAR still works for the highways. What we need is maintenance.
Maintenance. Importantly, before you go on, please, we have Badi Geshin on the line calling from Ojo. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
My name is Badi Geshin.
Hey, I think I know this person.
Badi Geshin. Thank you. Go ahead.
All right, good morning. Yeah, the living in Lagos is becoming much more tougher now. It is. And every morning when you wake up, you pray that you get to your destination because the traffic is so bad. The potholes are just there. You know, if you're going to a job from Isheri, from Isheri in Egbeda, it's very terrible. From last week down to that turning, it's just like about 3 minutes. But these days, you can spend like 40 minutes. We are calling on Lagos State government to do something. Then it's not the function of having so many people on the road, LASMA, police. I find that they are not doing anything. They are just doing it for their own pocket. They even tell the downful drivers to stay, to pick people on the road. These are the issues that the government must look at. It's not about having people with uniform and condo, baiting and all those stuff. Traffic must be driven by technology and science. And we can as well use drones to even do this. Go to a cartoon. The mess there is just too bad because a lot of people are buying and selling on the road. And with all this security and personnel, they know very well. But because they, you know, money changes and most of the time. So they even tell them to wait to pick passengers on the road. There are countries, there are cities that are much more bigger with population all over the world.
All right, Badi Geshin, thank you, point taking. But then people beat technology as well. So it begins with the mindset also. When you talk about traffic, it begins with the mindset. You should be responsible when you're on the road. It's not about you alone. It's about every other person.
But then
I agree with that.
As much as
he landed a major
as much as technology is important, people also still beat technology.
Yes. Okay.
Until you have that mindset that this is not about you alone on the road. Technology is important. You know, I agree.
I agree with part of his point where he says that sometimes we have the law enforcement who are not really doing their job. But I also have seen cases where they try to do their jobs and the drivers make it so tough. Sometimes I'm like, if I am the law enforcement, I might be shooting some people down, you know, because of how it just makes no sense. You can see that there's traffic, and yet you want to, somehow you think you're the smartest person on the lane, and you want to cut and then cause another type of traffic.
Enforcement is enforcement. So somebody is obstructing traffic, parked at the wrong side of the road. This morning, there was a tanker standing in front of the road, blocking us for about 15 minutes. Why? It was buying fuel from black market in the middle of the road.
Need to quickly
so if you have an official, you know, impound the car.
All right, the conversation continues after the break. Please stay with us. We will be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, there is a story trending on social media about a housewife who is busy taking care of the house the whole day while the husband arrives late at night, but she is always too tired to attend to him. Now, this is, however, causing a serious issue in her marriage. What advice do you have for her? Join the conversation on 07080668014. Tweet to us at TVC Connect with the hashtag YourViewTVC. Ladies, I mean, my own question is, does she have kids? What is she busy with? What is she doing?
Kids and assholes.
She's working. What is this?
Let me just add more flesh to the story. So she's a full-time housewife. So there are kids, and she has no help. So she says her job is to take care of the home and the kids all day long. And most of the time, because she's the only one running after the kids as well, she's tired. So by the time he gets home, she falls asleep. So she doesn't mean to, but she finds that she falls asleep, and it takes him a long time before she gets up
to open the door.
And when he comes in, he's just too upset that he's been knocking for so long. He doesn't even ask her how her day was. They have no time to even ask each other how your day was because they're upset about what has just happened. It's happened too long. She needs help. She doesn't want this to continue being her problem.
Shy.
Does she have kids?
Yes, she does.
Kids.
So here's the thing, and people who know me will just roll their eyes when I start talking. My maternal instincts are not as maternal. They're not as maternal as they should be. So I believe that I'm one person. Inside this one person, I must have time for me. Very important something. I must have time for God. Very important. Husband, you have your time. Children, your time.
Schedule.
You cannot take all my time. Are you with me?
Yes.
I don't do it. There are many times that my nannies, oh, God bless my nannies. If they're leaving me, maybe they're going off. They'll say, Auntie, I've put rice in the fridge. It's in a small container. Auntie, just warm it, let the children eat. Because
you won't boil the rice.
Me. If I don't hear, Mommy, I'm hungry, you are okay.
You're okay.
We'll be watching TV. Oh, yes. You know that thing I say, you must eat, you're okay. No. Son of man does not have time for that.
Really? If you come to some people,
I'm not joking.
Strange.
See, that's why I say people who know me.
We need to have this conversation.
But that's why I say people who know me will roll their eyes.
Style,
I do not do it. If you are hungry, you will tell me, Mommy, you're hungry? Let's see if they left rice for you.
Hey, no, this is
terrible. You're not. I feel like a lot of times, especially as mothers, we take in so much. We take on so much because we feel guilty for creating time for ourselves or time. I want to go on a holiday without my family. Why is that wrong? You know, I went on a vacation once with the kids this year, and it was not quite a vacation. Are you with me?
Yes.
I've experienced it because I had to work. So the next time they say you go with the kids, I said no. The truth is, you would have to structure your time. You are one human being. I think that to work, to function at your optimum bestest, you've got to understand that everybody and everything has a compartment in your life and their time.
You even have nannies. She didn't have help.
Yeah, so that's why I said her question was, please, I need people who are in this situation, who do not have help.
So, Miriam, my early years in marriage, when I started, I was working as a teacher. It was a big school, so we don't close normal time. We close like 6 p.m. And then I was pregnant, and I didn't have a nanny. And so when I get home, I need to wash the dishes, I need to make the food, I need to wash the clothes that I left behind and everything. And by the time I'm done, I'm exhausted by 8 p.m., 9 p.m. And then my husband strolls in by 10. Strolls in from work. He has had a very hectic day as well. And then he comes in and he will stay at the door and knock. I'm sleeping, I won't hear. I had a neighbor who always would buzz my phone or come to my window and say, oh, guys around, go and open the door for him. So it was a strain in that relationship for a while because he didn't understand why I went to work. I'm trying to make this work. I'm making money and all of that. And you cannot even wait to see me, to ask me how was my day. And when I even opened the door, I just tell him, your food is somewhere in the kitchen there, and I go straight to bed. I was always very tired. And then he had to talk about it. I had to ask my mother-in-law, say, I don't know how, because I remember when you were married, your early years, you were working, your husband was working. How did you handle it? Because me, I get tired though, and then you dare not even touch me in the middle of the night. I am tired, I need to sleep. And so she said, you know what you do? Try as much as possible. Immediately you come back to rest. Have a nap, hide somewhere and sleep. Even when the kids started coming, lock your room, hide somewhere and sleep. So that you have a little me time, you're refreshed. Then when he comes back, even if you cannot wait for him to eat in the middle of the night, you know, at that time, because it's really late, make sure you have eaten small first. Then when he comes, as he's eating, put your hand inside the food. Let it look like
Yeah,
we're
here
eating
with you.
together. And then just listen to the conversation that over time he would adjust. And I started doing it, and it worked. So if she could try something like that, it may work for her.
I think it's about time management. And I sort of also understood her because I'm this sort of person that everything has to be done. It has to be done now, and it has to be done the way I want it. It has to be done. So sometimes you overwork yourself to the point that there's no time to rest or do anything else. So I was just thinking she may be someone like me, which is the window is dirty.
You must clean it.
You must clean the window, yes, and then pick the child. And it has to be, you know, at the time that right now, everything has to be done.
It has to be done.
Yes, it has to be done right now. So I can imagine getting tired at the end. I'm telling you. So I can imagine getting tired at the end of the day because it happens to me as well. But I think what is important for me, I've always had help. So I don't understand that, you know, I understand that may even be harder for her. Yes. So for me, I think, so for me, I think time management for her is very important. I like that advice that your mother-in-law gave you, which is get your rest at the beginning of the day, so you're able to be. See, I know how annoying. I know how annoying it is to come home and knock on that door and knock on that door and nobody opens.
After
I don't care if that person
stressful day,
was
you must include.
This is my
See,
take.
even if the person was partying, the fact that I've come and I'm knocking on that door.
Yes. Why not get to key?
Right. That's right. Ufuoma. This thing. There are different ways to look at
taking the table. I'm sorry.
10th year without a maid.
Oh, wow.
And I've had to make it work through trying pregnancies, everything. I can tell you it's a crazy thing. And there are days when I come from your view, when I'm tired, I can actually not I can't stand on my feet. There's pain on my feet when I stand. So when I stand like that, I know that this one don't knock. The engine don't knock. I just need to sleep. And I can't get that sleep.
Why? Because you have kids.
So that's the reality. When I read that story, I kept reading it over and I just kept seeing my journey. You will fight, Taya, in that marriage. We fought.
Should you fight?
No, you will fight. You will fight because when we got married, the first agreement was no third party. We needed to have a
Why not get that kind of agreement?
No, I like it. I actually don't like my house. I don't like third parties like that because, you know, we have to do exhibition when we
if
get
that
home.
works for you.
So,
but then there are different ways to look at this thing.
When you're overworked, you call your partner and have a conversation.
Thank you. We are getting there, but we have to take this message from someone.
Colin?
Tosin, yes, in Alimosho. Welcome to the show. Go ahead with your contribution.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Tosin from Alimosho.
Welcome.
Quickly, let me start with the road issue, the traffic issue in Lagos. It's really, really, really terrible. Trust me.
It is.
I stay in Alimosho. I don't think there's any good road in Alimosho again. Apart from the express. The express is still manageable. I walk on the highland. From Alimosho to the island, when you get to the island, the law school area, the area is terrible. My parents stay in Ikorodu. Whenever I visit them in Ikorodu, I always go very early because of the bad road also. The road is terrible everywhere in Lagos. I don't know, maybe Lagos State.
Tosin, I know there's so much you want to say, but we hear you. Thank you so much for your contribution.
You have to have this conversation with your partner. So my own marriage, I called my husband. This our arrangement is no longer working. Because before, I'm very compartmentalized like that. I can have steamed pepper, I can have it, so I can make food as quick as and I have soups. I can have soup for 4 months in the freezer. I take one day and make it like that, so we are fine. And my husband, eats from the freezer. Some men don't eat from freezer, they eat fresh. So we are there struggling. So we sit down part-time and talk about it, and we grow a step after that particular one. When I started having children, it wasn't easy. And my husband he was trying to commit to it, but he too was busy. So we had to, I just looked outside the house. I went to my neighbor's house. Can you people come and be helping me once in a while, come and keep me company? So they come around during the day and they leave at night.
All right, let's quickly take Adedayo calling from Surulere. Welcome to the show, Dayo. Go ahead with your contribution.
Well, good morning. Please.
Good morning.
Yeah, all right. Good morning to you all.
Morning.
Okay, let me start from your last discussion about the issue of the woman. Okay, someone said, if it's possible, let them have 2 kids. 2 kids. So this can be back. The one I want to talk about is the traffic in Lagos. I'll bring out 3 points. Number 1, on the side of the government. Then number 2, on the side of the citizens. Then number 3, the geographical space. Number 1, the government. Madam was being polite to the government. Please, I think we should stop being polite to these people. We are suffering. We are repairing our cars when we don't need to repair.
Honestly.
They should use proper materials for the road. Then on the side of the citizen, I can tell you for a fact, I was telling a friend of mine yesterday, I said, I've done taxi business for 5 years now. I can tell you for a fact that if I write a book about how Nigerians died and why Nigeria is like this, I will share. You see, as citizens, we need to understand that my action on point A has a ripple effect on point Z.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Tosin, for your contribution. There's so much.
Yeah, so I want to take a cue from what Ufuoma said, and she made a very valid point, that we feel very guilty when we don't take out time to rest. One of the things I knew early in marriage was the fact that I didn't want to ever look older than my husband.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I said, no.
Can we take an offering?
At this point? High five.
Offering time.
Because I see a lot of elderly men and women. And I compare, even when the age difference is 20 years, 10 years.
The woman looks older.
The woman is worn out.
Yeah.
She's worn out already. And I married somebody that is just 2 years older than me. You see, I'm at a greater risk of being worn out early. Do you understand? So I told myself that thank God I have a good gene. I don't look my age, but then I still need to take care of myself. You see that me time? I don't play with it. My kids know that when I come back, that's high. You know, past 5 minutes,
yes.
Everybody, mommy needs to take her sleep. I take my beauty sleep every afternoon, except I'm not at home. And that period, they know that they have to stay somewhere, don't make noise, so that mommy will not come and flog you. Bankere straight, I have it in the house. You know, I make that effort. I really make that effort. So no matter how busy you are, these kids will leave you and go out tomorrow, and then you realize that you don't have a life. So find that little space, even if it's 30 minutes, even if it's 1 hour in a day.
I want to pick it from where Nima talked about it, which has to do with communication.
Yeah.
She and her husband has to have that conversation. It's important. This is what it's doing to me. What can we do about it? Do we bring in the help? You don't want? We need to spread whatever it is, the chores I have to do over the week. She now has to begin to schedule her time. You can't do everything at once. It's important.
Let's give kudos to men who help. Let's talk about men who do, because she's a housewife. Somebody's bringing in the money.
But he comes home late.
No, but he's bringing in the money. He's doing whatever he has to do.
Traffic. That's why he's late. See the point we're forgetting here. And, you know, Nima said something which, you know, you reiterated. We're talking about somebody having a conversation, and you know what? You guys can talk until you decide to take a decision and act on that decision. You're back to square one. So now let's go back to our reference point. This woman is a housewife. Hopefully, I'm hoping that she's a housewife by choice. Nima said she decided she didn't want house. I remember when I got married to my husband, very like you, he didn't want anybody in the house. He does not like. So there was no way we're going to have a house without a BQ. My husband does not want to come and see foreign human being. He just didn't like it, you know. So I can understand that that's something you want. But inside of what you want, you've got to make your situation work.
Absolutely.
So I'm saying that in being a housewife and knowing that these are the things you need to do, don't kill yourself and say, when the kids are in school, these 6 hours, oh, I must clean the house. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, a dirty window cannot kill you.
Does it kill you?
The children are playing for God's sake. What if the dirty window affects your kids?
You can't sleep when there's a dog. At the end of the day, this your devil's advocate can't work for me. At the end of the day, you realize that you're not just looking older than yourself. If you are not top shot, if you are not at your best, you cannot even give these kids the best. You can't give your husband the best.
That's all. Major points.
You can't say I'm in a small mood. The whole house, they say,
upside down.
Don't mind me not happy. So they know. I have just allowed me happy.
I visit Miriam's house and I wonder, where the children for this house? The children not do this house.
The
house is prim and proper.
Let me forgive you, Miriam.
Let me just say, in case you come into my living room and it's like this. It's okay.
Quickly, 2 minutes. I came to Miriam's house. That day she was complaining. Hey, her house is upside down. Her house is dirty. In fact, they've not cleaned the house. So as we entered, everywhere was organized.
No mind now.
Everywhere was neat.
She don't know what I'm thinking.
She does not understand the
Maybe
meaning
that's not her house
the
we came into.
definition of dirty or upside down.
Now hotel you go call her. No go
Is this house already?
No.
You need to see when I say my house is upside down.
This one doesn't understand.
Upside down.
Guess what? My husband told me that it was okay.
It's okay.
We have
okay.
Emmanuel on the line. Go ahead, Emmanuel. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Emmanuel from Kodu.
All right.
I really want to appreciate your good work. I've been a good listener to your program.
Thank you.
I've been following you up for a very long time.
All right.
And it's been a wonderful job people are doing there. I appreciate you guys, and you are doing very well.
Thank you.
So I want to contribute on the two issues. The issue of bad roads in Lagos. I think that issue of bad roads, as I say, is majorly during this rainy season. It's a very big issue. Because once it rains, everywhere will be flooded. In fact, you find out that there will be no roads. In fact, the little road you have will be piled up with traffic because everybody will be looking for a better road to flow. Then the issue of house chores, about the man helping his wife or the wife helping her. Taking something what you need to understand is that not every woman likes her husband to help them in house chores.
True.
I've heard it.
It's true. Don't choke. It's true. It's true.
Like my wife.
Yeah.
Like my wife, there's some things sometimes when I'll come and say, baby, go and sleep. Let me do this. No, I'll finish it up. Just you go and rest. Okay, let me help you. I'll go and rest. So most of the time she preferred doing it because she believed that she would do it better than me, that if I do it, I might not do it right. Well, so, such a place, you find that it's not that the spouse doesn't want to help, or maybe the type of a woman you have in your at home. Sometimes she will be the one to come back late. Before, like most of the time, I'm at home. Like now, I'm at home. I'm preparing lunch already because I know I'll leave house very soon, and she will come back very soon. So before she come back, I have getting things. But most of the time, when I try to set things around, she'll come in. Maybe.
Sorry. Oh. I was once there. I was at some point when.
Hang on, please. You wanted to say something.
What one answer can we give this woman about this key thing, about this door thing? Because I thought about 2 keys, spare keys. But what if you live like in a compound house? What if it was the gate?
You should go with
how many? You cannot open the gate from outside. Do you understand? Okay. What if it's a gate? You have to come in and knock on the gate. What happens in that?
Well, I mean, there's always a solution for everything. Absolutely. This is the situation in the house. You got to change things. In my parents' house, the big gate where the car goes by, we use the padlock. But the pedestrian gate is a gate that has a proper lock. So we all have keys. My parents' house is like the gate and the house, if you knock or use your case, if you don't go with your key, you better have credit. Are you with me? Yeah. So they could do that, you know, to make it work. But much more than anything, I think if she really has a little time for herself, maybe catch some rest. Because I also think it's important to have time for your husband.
It is. It's very important.
I don't think it's okay that you work, and then you die at night, you know. Try and get some time for yourself. Get refreshed.
Marriage.
Exactly.
Yes, else there'll be another woman.
Even if there's not another woman.
That's even the extreme.
No, that's even an extreme. Even when there is...
No, possibly.
It is possible, but even when there is not another woman, there's a friction that just continues, and then you just find yourself drifting. It now becomes like a Nora. What happened? Nothing happened, but we just decided, sleep this room, we just grew apart. There are little things, you know. I think it's very important for her to have time for her husband.
And then we should be honest, these men are working. He's bringing home the money. God forbid he fails to pay the school fees, we'll be having a different conversation.
You will not do the housewife you're doing,
you go and find a job. Very considerate. Yes, be very considerate of, the time whatever he's doing outside, especially when it's a very married where he's not doing runs. He's faithful.
It's a faithful man.
Well, okay.
Some men close from work and they're at the clubs, enjoying, relaxing with their friends, and then quarreling to get into the house. But that's not the story for me, for instance. Yes. So I cannot say, I'm hoping that's not her story. Yeah. My husband is running late for honest reasons most times. And he's wrong being sensitive.
She should have time for him.
She has to have time for him and have that conversation with him
she's clubbing as well.
Anyway, next we engage our celebrity guest. Yes, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Well, thanks for staying with us. She is a filmmaker, actor, and former model. She has featured in different movies and has won different awards.
Plenty.
Welcome with us, Ufuoma Mcdermott.
Welcome again.
Yes, you can join the conversation on 0708066814. Tweet to us at TVC Connect with the hashtag YourViewTVC. Now back to you. Now the attention is on you now.
Yes,
Now I'm scared.
Should everyone tweet for her?
Oh my God.
read.
Mr. PJ Comedian says, Bia, are you sure Ufuoma won't come and join the stand-up ministry? She's super hilarious this morning.
I'm telling you. Thank you. Have your dull moment in the house.
That'll be another credit to your car because you've acted, you've sang, you've done practically everything. Yet in one of your captions, you said there are still certain things you're unsure of, and I'm like, how now? How is that possible? Like, seriously?
You know how you feel, sometimes you just feel like, I can do everything? The question I ask is, should you do everything? You know, it's okay that you can, but should you? Sometimes I feel like if I consolidate all my efforts or my talents into 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, then I'm better than spreading thin across more, you know? So there's some things you want to let out and you're like,
no need.
Yeah, let me just put that energy or that contact or that network into this one that is already there. Let's, you know, drive it forward. So, you know.
But do you think it's, at the end of the day, you won't sit back and say to yourself, maybe I should have? Because I believe that there are people, the way God has created everybody, we are all different. We are all unique in our way. He gave one 5, he gave another 2, he gave another 1. The person he gave 5, he gave the capacity for that 5.
Absolutely.
So you may be among that 5.
True.
And then because you don't want people to say you're doing too much,
I don't care about
people.
Well,
kind of limit yourself.
Mona, sorry.
So yeah, but so for the things that you have,
No, I'll say it again, and I hope you hear me in this, because I'm like the most important person in my life. Ufuoma plus Ufuoma divided by Ufuoma equates Ufuoma.
Oh, all the way.
Yeah, I'm the most important person. So here's the thing. If I have capacity for 5, the truth is I wouldn't know until I push myself to 5.
Absolutely.
Right? So if I have 3 at that point and I'm about to go into 4, what I do is I begin to consider, do I have 3 solid enough to go into 4? Because if I start 4 is a baby and I need to give 4 my all. I can't be running back to 1 and 2 and say, take breast milk. Okay, take spoon. Do you understand? Okay. So I need to make sure that 1, 2, 3
are standing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I can baby 4. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. I don't think that you should hold back anything. And there's sometimes in life that you might need to close one. You might need to start and finish one. Modeling, probably. Modeling, pageantry, that's totally gone. I don't know that I'd ever...
married now. Which kind of pageantry?
No, that's not
model.
Yes.
No. Fashion, that's fashion,
yes.
but not beauty pageantry.
No. Well, they have beauty pageants. They have Mrs. Nigeria, you know, but, you know. Those are chapters that are closed.
If you go and do that one now, you just be chasing other people now.
I like that. I follow you on social media. I love your energy, and sitting here beside you, I mean, social media just captures a little of you. But you know, there's something I love about you as well, which is that you have a friendship with a group of women, and it seems really strong, especially now where we hear all sorts of catty talk back and forth with women in this industry. Where like, is it that women can't get along, and what are you doing to get along with your own friends?
Let me tell you the truth. I think a lot of people look at life too seriously.
Ew.
Everything, even marriage, it's too serious. You quarrel and then you move on now. Do you understand? It's not, hey, if you see me and Joma fighting.
Are you kidding?
The record governor concert for our like, you guys fight? We do. We have misunderstandings. And then the very next minute, as we're having a misunderstanding, somebody say, I beg, what you go eat, Joe? Who you want call? What you want? Okay. Bring 3 amala. It's ridiculous how, yes, because we try not to take anything too seriously.
Ufuoma, you have not addressed the question. Because you have a friendship and that is forgiving.
No.
They never do you wait enough you forgive. I'm asking, wait.
No, it's possible. I'm not going to belittle anybody's experience. We all have our experiences and how we take them differ. But here's the thing. So I'm from a large family and I have a sister. What can my sister do to me that will make her stop being my sister?
Nothing.
Think about it. That thing when pay me, I'll cause him. Cause a full life finish. Abuse if I won't beat, I beat him. But are we going to stop being sisters?
No.
Now, do you understand what I'm talking about? I'm
So
not
they
saying
have
you won't be hurt.
competition to you.
I'm not saying you
just
won't be
allow me,
hurt.
because you see, in this industry, there seems to be this competition
Acrimony.
that they bring.
By the way, let me tell you another reason why, like she says, there's this catty thing. I'm on TV. We don't keep our poo in the toilet. It should remain in the toilet. Why are you taking it to the living room or to the kitchen? I'm not saying you're not going to have. Why does it have to come to a
Why
Why
do I have to go to your toilet to bring poo
and put it somebody?
I'm not
understand.
I don't understand.
I'm not saying that there's not going to be all of that. Just keep the
But then these things happen. So what? Okay, as a practitioner and a colleague, what would you do to settle these things? What are you people even doing? Are you people organizing things to talk to yourselves?
Here's the problem. You see, this thing we call settlement is too much attention.
I agree.
It's too much attention. Leave those people by themselves. Tomorrow you just stroll in and sit.
You see them.
What happens? You give it too much attention, and what you give attention, you give power. It thrives.
Now, talking about the industry, so to speak, one would say that it encourages the fake it till you make it thing. And all the while that we've been here, you've been so real.
Exactly.
So,
you haven't been faking.
how?
So here's the thing.
A good fake.
It's amazing how, because people see you on TV, they can identify you.
Yes.
If I say Dr. Ajayi, you don't know who that is. If I say Professor John, you don't know who that is, right? So because people can identify name and face together, it's easy to say this is more in the entertainment industry or is more with practitioners.
It's everywhere. It's a life thing.
It's everywhere. Everybody fakes it till they make it. It's everywhere. However, this is my problem, and that's why I started by saying that I'm the most important person in my life. Even the people, when they give me Gary chop, they know that they cannot come and say something. So I will give you and your Gary go. Take your Gary, I'm going to go back for yam. Just be going. There's something I realized very early in life, that you can tell yourself a lie so much that lie becomes your truth.
Reality.
Yes. And I'm not even talking about how it affects other people. I'm talking about how it affects you. And then there's a struggle to live up to
standard.
Yes, that lie that you have told yourself. Even though there are certain lies that I like.
Right.
I don't even care if they're lies. Like, for example, I'm the most important person in my life.
But that's true.
I'm like the most beautiful girl God created.
That's true.
Like I'm a chick and a half. Know what I mean?
When you say I'm the most beautiful, the voice just went low, like, I'm beautiful too now. Like you can't be the most beautiful when I'm here.
Yes, what you tell yourself is actually very important. It's okay to say to yourself that my kids are in this school, I want them to be in this school, and like Christians will say, speak it into existence. However, I am very pragmatic, and I believe that as you speak it, try to work it. You have to understand. And if you want your children to, it's okay. Just you know that where you are now cannot do this, because where you are is able to afford where they are now, right? So it means that for you to start working, you're saying I have to change this job to this job. I have to learn to save more, and all sort of things. So just follow that fake with whatever it is you need to do to.
So I love the fact that you are a learner. You are someone who's passionate about education. Yes. You are well read. You have your masters. I'm sure you are still going to school, because I follow you on social media, and I knew when you were. I know. I don't suspect, and they come.
And I hate school. I can't explain it.
And then I see it in your work. I see the class in the work. I see the fact that this person is evolved, and she's not just at one point, she's moving. And that's what I believe, that in life you must keep moving. It's either you grow, keep growing, or you die. Now, what do you tell young people who say, I have a talent in acting, and that's all I want to do? And they don't care about really improving themselves or even getting an education. Somebody told me when I was growing up, say, even if you want to be selling, you want to be an Olosho. If you go to school, they will prize you better. That's it. So what do you tell certain people who look up to you? They're asking. Tell me now.
So first of all, I learned from someone that growth is a natural phenomenon in life. Throw a seed down, whether or not you water it, chances are with the rain and sunshine, it would grow. There has to be an impediment for growth not to happen. Right? Growth will happen. However, what kind of growth do you want? If I water that beans or whatever seed that is, if I give it manure, chances are it will grow better than yours. It will probably grow faster, it'll be bigger, you know, fuller. So you need to understand your path and what you want. I'm surprised that a lot of people tell you that, oh, they can act and they want to act. And that's not what they tell me. They just tell me they want to be stars.
There's a difference.
And I say, go to the sky. I'm sorry.
No, but then,
right.
so now that they see what they be slap.
They don't want to go through the process.
You don't want to work.
Not true. You understand? People need to understand what exactly it is that they want. Acting is a career path. You know, you don't see a doctor or a young person coming out tomorrow to say, I want to be a doctor, and then boom, tomorrow they're doctors. It doesn't happen like that. There's a process that you need to go through.
Your worriness should have. So let's talk about, you know, what you're doing with the Earword project. Because we don't see you plenty for
I love Hereword. Hereword is a stage performance that is made up of many monologues. And basically, we try to address issues that affect women in the society. And mostly in any society, but predominantly in Africa. Hereword has been running for about 6 years now. It's 10 powerful women on stage, delivering over 20, you know, pieces. And we've done more than 10 cities globally so far. So we started since 2014, and this is our 6th year. Yes, we started in Lagos. And so we've had opportunities to go perform at the United Nations, at Harvard, and University of Connecticut, in Amsterdam.
But you didn't start from there. Tell them, let them know that you started from the...
So here's the thing.
The bottom to the top? Hereword started from...
Hereword started... And I have to give Ufuoma Mcdermott credit for, you know, how she's put the team together and, you know, what we've done. Hereword started with a vision that has been... So I don't know if you've heard about the vagina monologue.
Yes,
which evolved to become V monologue, because in Nigeria, people got tired of the word vagina. Vagina.
They don't like to talk about it.
Call another thing.
You know, but I say to people, it's an English word. It's in the dictionary. I think that's the most decent thing to call a vagina, right? So, so it started from the vagina monologues and then evolved into the V monologues, and then after some time, it stalled and it wasn't happening. And Ufuoma took the franchise, you know, bought it over, and, you know, added some new monologues, you know, rewrote some, tweaked it. What she's then done is put 10 people together, and the bond between those 10 people have been amazing. And you're right, when we started, it wasn't, nobody saw this going outside the shores of Nigeria. For me, this was my first stage experience, and it was like, God, really, I have to jump on stage up and down and be talking about orgasms, and I'm born again, man. I'm born again. Who does that? You know, but we realized very quickly, and that's why I said thanks to Ufuoma Mcdermott. They're very serious issues. And then when we started having workshops where she'd bring, you know, victims in for rehearsals, and we hear them talk, and we're like, what? And then when she told us that every piece of monologue in the play was a true life story. I think that changed our perspective. The perspective we had for us, it was just, let's go and do some art form. Right now, we feel like priestesses. We feel like we've been called to preach a gospel. And if we don't preach it, we'll be condemned to eternal damnation.
We are running out of time quickly, but talk to us about the project you're working on beyond Hereword Niger. What else are you?
So, well, I mean, Hereword is still evolving because we had a show at CIS. We have a show today at St. Gregory's. Personally, I'm doing my own stuff, the USM show, and I have an offshoot of that, which is a Christmas. I hope it would still take people by surprise, but it's called Christmas by Mistake. So there's stuff we're doing, and just look out for some mistaken Christmas happening somewhere around you. You might just have to whip up your phone. No. Well, we're going to do unconventional theater, so it's going to be just you walking on the road. Thank you. You might just be walking on the mall and you, on the way, and you see people doing stuff. Yes, you know. So
unfortunately, we can't take tweets now because the producer is screaming at me. We need to leave.
Where did the time go?
I mean,
before we go, please. She said just, babe.
Yes. What is me? What are they even feeling like on this table, Seth?
Thank you, Ufuoma Mcdermott, for coming on the show. Thank you, ladies. It's been an awesome time. I feel great being here this morning. Thank you. Well, that's all we can take on the show today. Join us next week for another episode or episodes on Your View. Have a fabulous weekend. Bye now.
Bye, guys.